Not sure if mic is working.
Howdy.
Hey man, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I don't have a camera working.
Nope, that's all right. I've got a blank overlay of your office set up right now.
The ghost of Jarrod is here.
The ghost of Jarrod is present. Hey, for those that are catching early in the pre-show, good to see you guys. We're here. We're getting set up and ready to go. Should be rolling in, if that ticker is right, it says 8 minutes, 56 seconds. Double check all the platforms. Make sure that we are good.
What about now?
Well, now, I think you're here.
Ooh, I am here. Dark, but
You're
I'm
here
here.
just a hair dark, but you're here.
Sweet. I can fix that.
Yep, that's a pretty simple fix.
Check. Slight lag. Cool.
On my end, it looks good, though.
Good. Had a record setup time today, so.
You gotta love that. I need to double check. Oh, yeah, 3 hours and 51 minutes. That'll work. And
Do you do intern? Are you still doing internal recording to your A66? Okay.
I didn't, because of last week where we had Diana in, and then you in, and then that whole file. I was going to do a multicam edit breakdown on it. It was just too much. So I was like, yeah, we're not doing that. And I did shift my desk around a little bit. I've got a, whatchamacallit. Actually, here, let me see if I can do one of these things.
The old whatchamadoogle. I know that one.
The old new camera overlay. And we want this thing on there. Okay, so I've got this thing, this monitor stand.
Yes.
And it's got dual arms.
Yes.
It actually had 4 arms on it. I disassembled one of the arms and added it to one of the arms to make an extension. So I have a hole for my camera. So it can sit there. It was on this side, so this was the long one. But I moved it over so just before getting on here. So that's the short one. That's the long one. Which allows me to move this camera over a little bit more. And in doing that, what it lets me do is then have a wider shot where you just barely catch the curtain. Whereas before, it was catching a lot of the curtain. And then the other part that it winds up creating an issue with is I'm centered now, or fairly centered. Like this goes, that's center on the desk, and it hits me right here.
Right there.
So maybe a couple inches off center, and I'm just setting to the right to center on the camera and the scene. Whereas last week and the weeks prior, in order to get the curtain out of the way, I had to set here. So I was all the way over.
What's the deal with the curtain? Don't like the curtain?
No real rhyme or reason. It's just
when you go to my wide shot, I don't like the white doors for some reason. I usually have them sound blanketed off, but not enough time today. I don't like that. I don't like it. Welcome to my closet. Also, lady sleeping. Still here.
Nice. Still here.
Too lazy to move her.
That's all right. I still have, and you can't even see it, but over there is a Funko Pop that is unopened, which is rare for me.
Ooh,
to have one that is unopened.
True. I miss, so this center scene, where are we? This center scene right here, whenever it's wide, go wide again.
On who, you or me?
You.
Yeah.
Right there, yes. I miss this. I don't get to see this because when we're talking, it's always the tight one, you know?
Yeah.
And I have to get off and refresh. You'll go to the wide, and I never get to see you. So, I miss the light bulb. What else is in there? How have you updated on your Funkos? Look at you. Oh, you got a whole new section over there.
Yeah, so I got a new section of Funkos back here where that's completely filled in. I moved the... I can't move my arm. Right there is the hashtag, and it used to be over in that little cubby, so I moved it back there. And then also in that cubby was my Crown of Thorns, which I moved right back there.
Ooh.
And so it's sitting there. And then the the pineapple mug, it got moved there. But I'm actually thinking about moving this light to where this light is, and that light to where this light is. So swapping those.
I was thinking either that or this would be a pain in the tuchus, but shooting something at those Funko Pops with the same temperature down there at the bottom. Yeah, same as what you have, same kind of like your ambers, whatever you have back there.
Yeah, you're just thinking if I did it in the same temperature as those, which that temperature is what? That's what is that temperature? Because that would be just ambers? Like regular tungsten.
So like 32. What are they?
Let's see if I can find it. Lifix. So in other words, if I did that, now the thing is, then it changes the whole background to be like green. But
oh no! I meant like on the floor, because you have one dark corner, which I like it, but like you have Funko Pops in it. I was just thinking something.
Oh, you mean that corner over here?
Yeah, something from the floor. Yeah, exactly. Splashing up at those Funkos.
Yeah, because I don't think if I did this. Wait, no, I don't like that. That's the wrong one.
Stop it!
Hold on.
You're gonna mess it up. It's gonna be ruined forever.
No, I know. All I have to do is say. Okay,
you have Google. Settings. Oh my goodness. See, these are the systems where you disappear for a month and you come back with whatever that is. What is that? I heard it.
Oh, I said. You heard it? I didn't hear it. At least not that time.
Oh,
anyways, I better stop messing with that stuff.
Guaranteed.
And then let's
anything happens today?
It's on your end.
This guy. It's totally brand new. Everything here is like swapped.
Well, I'm gonna wind up having that before too long. You and I talked about this. I've got that. Oh, that was the other thing on there that I didn't show you, but I'm not going to because I'd have to do one of these again and then go like this. But over there, that black thing is the other microphone. I put it back there because I would still love
other white meat.
Yeah, I would still love, if possible, to convince Logan to do something. What just happened? Did I zoom in or something on me? I don't know. If I could convince Logan to do, I don't know, some type of podcast or something with me, that would be swell. I just don't think I'm ever going to get him to do that.
Is he done? What happened? Like he had a little bit of a passion, seemed like, for it, and then he was like, and I'm out.
I don't know. I have no idea what that boy wants and does, and so
kids, man, that's how they are. They're like, this is it. No, it's not. It's that thing.
Right. But if he wants to, then yeah, we're good with that. If he doesn't want to, then it's like, why do I need 2 SM7Bs? Because I only use one. The only other time I've used 2 is just to be like, I don't know, to feel like I'm presidential with 2 microphones right up here.
Yes, you in the back. Yes, go ahead. No, I just don't see how, if you had a dad who worked in the space and you have access to the coolest gear ever, and the cameras are there, the software's there, like all you have to do is sit down and record it. Oh my goodness.
Right.
I mean, Logan, where are you? Logan, this is my spiel to you, man. Take advantage of this opportunity.
Yep.
Even if you don't use it right now, you might just keep it in the old nugget for later.
Yeah. I don't know. It would be swell. Let's see. John was here earlier, but he said he was going to have to sit this one out because he's heading into an 1.5-hour meeting as we go live, unless we wind up being on time. And then he said, "Who am I kidding? You'll still be live when the meeting's over."
Oh, well, that's true.
Well, I don't know if it's going to be true.
I have a hard quit. I do 12 o'clock.
I have a hard quit at 12 o'clock too.
Okay, perfect.
So John's
on the same page.
Out of luck.
Yeah.
Jeffrey Collin saying here, and howdy vlog pastors and chat from Zach. Good to see you, Zach.
Hey, I don't have the same comments that you do.
You don't?
No, I do not. I only have Jeffrey's.
Oh, well, maybe Zach's just popped in, so yours isn't fresh yet.
Welcome to the Vlog Pastors Podcast, a podcast all about the stories and strategies of sharing God's love in the digital world. Now, here are 2 pastors that love to put a camera in their face and walk around in public. They are the Laurel and Hardy of digital ministry, Jarrod Brown and Joshua Verwers.
That's right. I'm Joshua Verwers, and that guy there
I call myself Jarrod Brown, and this is episode 82 of the Vlogpasters.
Yeah, and we just want to thank you for joining us on whatever platform you consume your Vlogpaster podcast content. Make sure when you're there that you drop a like, you leave a rating or a review, subscribe, follow us for all of that lovely content that means we have no idea what we're doing on any given day.
And if you want to absolutely throw the show off its rails like John likes to do, you can hop on any Wednesday at 10:30 in the a.m. Central Time, God's time, and have your way. Do what you want to do.
Yep.
Direct the conversation.
Speaking of John, who is not here, he says, shenanigans! Start the shenanigans! But he did want a question. He had a question for you, Jarrod. He says, what is going on with your Dallas Stars? I thought they would be doing better than they are.
Listen, we had our glory day. Real quick answer. Number one, I don't hockey. I just found out that they were doing well, and I'm like, oh, cool. Good. Hats off to them. But apparently they're getting slaughtered by the Knights. So is this already a thing? Is this already done? You don't hockey either. I know. I foosball. I don't hockey.
I used to hockey, and that was like when I was a teenager, and now I don't hockey so much. That's because I was football, and then I kind of vaguely remember, didn't the football back in like the 90s go through like a, was it like a strike or something that they wound up doing? Like I vaguely remember a football strike to the point where I just stopped watching it. And then all of a sudden
I don't remember that.
Came back to it. I know baseball's done it several times, and that was the thing.
Yes.
Like I was really big into baseball, especially like when Ken Griffey Jr. was rookie and coming in, and that was cool to see like father and son, kind of out there. That was kind of cool. I remember that stuff. Then I kind of remember a strike, and I stopped watching it, and I started watching more football. And then I remember I stopped watching football, and I started watching hockey. And since then, I've just been back on the football train, and I'm looking forward to the NFL Sunday ticket because it costs way too much money, but I get to watch every single game ever.
Well, here's the deal, John Hayes. I'm not allowed to watch hockey because Jason, my friend Jason, has never done anything sports related in his entire life. He does not have a sports bone in his body, and he has made fun of me and anybody who's interested in, football and the rest of the sports, football, baseball, basketball, all the things. And so he's just been relentless about it. Well, now he's decided that he's going to get into sports, and his sport that he has chosen is hockey. And so I make it a point not to watch any of the games, to know any of the facts, so that I can walk in and tease him about sports and on his ice pucking. How many hoops did they score this week? Just like he used to do with us in football. So that turkey, he's going to get it.
Yeah.
His team actually did good this year. He picks the Dallas Cowboys of the hockey world. He picks the Toronto Maple Leafs as his team. And I was telling him, man, you don't pick a team. A team picks you, my friend. You're a part of that culture. You picked?
So I did, but here's the one caveat.
How do I end stream?
Nope. Let me do this first, and then you can say whether or not I'm okay. I believe that the team typically would pick you, and that is based on your region and your locale because you're there. And so you have no choice. You have to be.
Yeah.
Here's the dilemma. I'm in Iowa. Can you tell me an Iowa professional football team? Can you tell me an Iowa professional team?
Yeah.
So for football, here were my options.
College.
I could go south into Missouri. And if I went south into Missouri for a professional team, well, then I would have to do the Kansas City Chiefs. I could go north into Minnesota, and then my option is the Minnesota Vikings. I could go east into Illinois, and then I've got the Chicago Bears. I could go northeast into Wisconsin, and then I've got the Green Bay Packers. Or I could go really west and hit like Denver Broncos. Like, those are the only ones that are kind of around the area. So then I thought, okay, which one am I actually likely to go to a game? Who's going to be the closest? Because I ain't driving 10 hours to Denver. Not going to happen, so Cowboys are out of the way. Because if I was going to drive 10 hours, man, I can make 10 hours down to Dallas. Not doing it. So then it's like, okay, well, Chicago's 6 hours, and Green Bay's like 6.5. Or I can go to Minneapolis, which is 3.5. Or Kansas City, which is about 2.5, 3. So it was between those. And then I just thought, well, I've always liked the NFC more than the AFC. And my brothers
Naturally
are Green Bay Packers fans. So if I chose the Vikings, then I get to constantly have a rivalry with them. And my wife has always liked the Vikings. So then we have like a happy home. So I chose the Vikings, although I kind of feel like it wasn't much of a choice. Like I didn't really have a choice. I mean, you got to have some type of a friendly rivalry. And it's not best to have it with your wife.
Fair enough. You know what? I'm going to allow that. I would say
it's allowed.
It should be passed down from your father's father's father or mother's mother's mother's, depending on where you come from.
Yeah.
But it should be inherited. These are the teams of your people. It is baked into your DNA. This is who you root for.
And
you went. Your grandpa went.
Yep.
Your grandpa's grandpa went. They established the team.
And when it comes to football, none of our family was ever really big into football until my generation. So then it's like, well, we kind of got to start a precedent, and that's where it's like, yeah.
My hat's off to you, though. My hat is off to you because of all those teams. You could have hopped on any one of the bandwagons.
Mm-hmm.
You could have hopped on the Saturday Night Live bandwagon. You could have hopped on, maybe they're halfway decent in the 2000s bandwagon. But no, you went.
I went to the one that had never won a Super Bowl, so there was no way that anybody could ever say I was a fair weather or a bandwagon fan. It was like, no, I'm definitely going to do it. Now then when it came to baseball, so here's the easy thing with baseball. We have the minor league Iowa Cubs. So to go Chicago Cubs is obvious, like you have to. Anybody around here in Iowa, unless you're on eastern Iowa, even eastern Iowa don't get, maybe southeastern Iowa when you're closer to St. Louis, you might go Cardinals. Other than that, it just makes no sense. So it was like we had to do that. With hockey, up in the air, I mean, for a while there, we had the Iowa Ducks, I think is what it called. No, it was the Iowa Chops, and they were the feeder league for the Anaheim Ducks. And then we wound up getting the Iowa Stars, which feeder league to the Dallas Stars, and now we're the Iowa Wild, feeder league to the Minnesota Wild. That seems more like it, but I really don't follow too much hockey. And then what's the other? Basketball. I don't watch basketball. Just never really have. But if we did, it would be the Iowa Wolves, so the Minnesota Timberwolves.
I just don't understand it because it's like you're making me think of the people in my community who root for other teams. And it's like, was your father not there when Nolan Ryan pitched the no-hitter? Was he not there? You know, it's like you almost going back through a biblical history. Were you not standing there when Emmitt Smith broke the record?
Now, and here's the crazy thing for college teams. The Des Moines Register wound up doing like this survey of Iowa and where our college allegiances are, because we've got the Iowa Hawkeyes in the Big Ten, and then we've got the Iowa Cyclones in the Big 12. And the funny thing is, like, if you look at a map of Iowa, it's all gold for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Everybody's a fan of the Iowa Hawkeyes, except for this little circle right around Ames where ISU is at. And then up Cyclone. And we've got another one. There's the University of Northern Iowa. I don't even remember what they are. Wildcats, maybe, is that right? I can't remember. Oh, Panthers, the UNI Panthers. But I was thinking Wildcats because it's purple, but that's Kansas State, right? Anywho, so UNI, but I can't even remember what division they're in. But they're way up there. So that's the other one. They're around like Cedar Rapids, Waterloo. Small little circle around them that's purple for them. And then far western Iowa, over at like Council Bluffs, is right next to Omaha, just across the river, and there's some Nebraska Cornhusker fans over there, which doesn't make any sense to me because for them to drive to Lincoln, like it actually is closer if they drove to Iowa. Well, maybe not closer to Iowa City. That might make sense because they're just right on the border, but it's really like just the edge of Iowa. I'm still thinking, why not go with an Iowa team like University of Northern Iowa or Iowa State or Iowa? So yes, Hawkeyes fan, but absolutely.
It's just, I know we're getting off on a tangent with the sports and stuff, but like Zach pops into the comments. He says, how about them Rangers?
Yeah.
And you think back whenever you've been a fan and it chose you think back to the years when like it was dull and boring to be a Rangers fan because we did not win for forever. And then you hit a streak where they go to the playoff. I know, man. You go to a streak where like the franchise rises out of the ashes,
Yeah.
kind of a thing. You're like, they weren't making anything out of anything, and all of a sudden they're good, and the whole culture changes. And
Yep.
it was fun because I went to a game, 20 years ago or something, and it was post Nolan Ryan era, but before we were good, and it was just like, people drudge through to show up to sit out there to support the team. But then you go, 10, 15 years later, and they're in the playoff hunt all the time, and it's an electric atmosphere, and you're like, what? This is sports. The whole place vibrates. Of course, that new stadium, Zach, have you been? My word, my. That's
Now,
getting
here's
out
the
of
other
hand.
thing about football. Actually, all sports. I've went and I've watched the basketball, hockey, baseball, all live. Now, granted, like feeder leagues, developmental, AAA stuff. So I've watched all those live. Fun to watch live. Even basketball, fun to watch live. I have not watched football live. Other than in college, I went and I saw the Iowa Hawkeyes. But I haven't watched a pro football game live. Yet football is the only one that I will watch, dare I say, religiously.
There's
and
something
it's like
to that.
it's like I'll watch it, but that's the only one that I truly enjoy watching over and over. Now, baseball with the new rules to speed up the game, I have watched a couple games. You know what? I kind of like the pitch clock. I like that because it does speed up the game, and that's been one of my big dilemmas. Like even like high school baseball, I don't get a kick out of going and watching high school baseball because it's just
3.5 hours long.
It's so slow. Whereas I love watching high school softball because that fast pitch softball, like that is a fast game. Maybe it's because it's a shorter field. Maybe it's because I don't know. It's a faster pace and it's just fun to watch.
Dude, you said it tongue in cheek, and nobody's gonna admit it, and I'm gonna get poo-pooed on. But there is
Religiously.
something potentially religious about this because I go to a softball, no, t-ball. Nay, it was t-ball game yesterday.
T-ball.
Yes, sir, t-ball, and I'm watching the little guys do it. And I look around for just a second. I got out of the game, broke out of the game, and I looked around. And I thought, why are there so many people here? And I look around, I'm like, my goodness, it is hard to like ding them because they're there for their kids and this is a community activity and everybody's rooting their team on. But there are hundreds of people from our community watching t-ball. Now, on Sunday, I go into my little church, which we're in that, that big venue right now, right? Yep. This venue has put in baseball fields across the way. So a handful of us filter into this worship center now, for Jesus. And we look across the way. We can't park at our own place where we go to every Sunday because they're having a weekend tournament, and they will through the summer. There's nowhere to park because of all of the people who have come into sports with their kiddos. And it's like, guys, I get what you're doing. You are pouring into these kids, but you have sacrificed your Sunday morning now for some reason. I don't know. It wasn't until, and I know you've heard this story before, man, I'll tell it one time and I'll be quick about it. It wasn't until I went to see the Cowboys live in their new stadium that I go, oh, we have a problem. Because when I walked into Jerry World, we were late, and the thing made of marble and glass is gyrating from the praise of the people. Coming out of, in there. I've never been to a stadium like that. I walk in, I hope that thing is engineered and structurally sound because it is moving with the screams of the people. Go, 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 go. And as they yell, and they've got them all jam-packed into that bowl. And these players, man, I don't know how you'd handle that. Being a football player and catching a pass and hearing 80,000, 100,000 people go, "You're the man!" I'd be like,
right,
Lord, I need help.
Right, yeah.
And it's a worship service. So anyway, that's my rant. It's unpopular opinion. I've gone too far already, but there it is.
Unpopular opinion, but I think the fact that it is an unpopular opinion says enough about how it's probably something that needs to be said and thought on and taken into consideration a lot more than it really is. So it's often, I mean, the Lord chastens whom he loves. And so it's like when we receive those words or we hear those words and it's like, ow, I think those are moments that we should probably wonder why it hurts so much. And is there something that I should actually glean from this?
It was when Wednesdays for me, the straw that broke the camel's back was Wednesdays and Sunday mornings. It's like when we started booking kids events over top of those days, and I get it. We're not, we're a post-Christian nation is what the people say, but man, that was a bridge too far for a pastor. It's like, you've scheduled your kids' t-ball tournament over top of paying proper homage to the king. All right.
Yeah. Zach saying, dude, went to the World Series when the Rangers were in it in 2010, and I thought the same thing, like almost guilty that we put so much time and money and energy into worship of our team.
It was weird.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Now, and so here's one of the other things, like when I think about even on that scale, let's pull an analogy of sports and worship where it comes to our faith and worship. Maybe one of the reasons I haven't went to an NFL game is I like people. I like to be around a lot of people. I'm definitely extroverted. I get energized at times with that, but not so much that when it's that many people, I'm probably going to become drained. Even like in pro wrestling, it can be the same thing, selling out arenas. I mean, like I think one of the highest ones was was it the Astrodome or Alamodome? I can't remember. It was like 93,000 people that they, WrestleMania packed into there back at WrestleMania, I don't know, 3 or whatever. 85, I think is what it was. Man, I know way too much about that stuff. But even that stuff, I prefer going to the smaller shows. Like I like going to small indie shows. It's just because it's a smaller, more intimate setting. It's a little more of a vibe that I dig. Same thing when it comes to sports. Like if I'm watching hockey, I would rather go watch the Des Moines Buccaneers. Our old stadium that we had was so small. Like there's not a bad seat in the place. And you've got to be alert the whole time. Otherwise you're going to get a puck in the face because there's no way to, block it all off. That's the stuff that I enjoy watching. I like going and watching the Iowa Cubs because even though they're, AAA, it's like it's in a smaller setting. Des Moines kind of a smaller, big city. I like that feel of it. I'm not even a big fan of going to like Wells Fargo Arena for stuff like that because it's big. And I would prefer to go watch, high school softball. Like I get a kick out of that, or high school football. If our Clark Indians were actually any good, then that would be kind of fun to watch.
It's a rebuilding year. Repeat after me. It's a rebuilding year.
For the last 87 years. It's like for all of eternity. I think we had 1 or 2 good years. This last one wasn't bad. They did well. But, that's the thing. It's like those smaller environments, which then makes me think, oh, maybe that's part of how I am wired because I'm a small church pastor. Like I've been in the 5,000 seat auditoriums for a church, and it's like, nope, not for me. Just ain't gonna happen. I just can't do it. It doesn't work with me. But you get me into a small church and I like it. Something 150 or less is what they got there. There's just something about that it just resonates with me, and it's cool. And I like the fact that, the pastor pretty much knows every single person's name and all their kids' names, and it's like that.
You don't like the billboards being raised up that says, come here for salvation?
I'm not a fan of it, but not based on any theological thing. It's just a personal preference. It's like,
I'm just messing.
Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of that. Now, do I try to incorporate some of the stuff that bigger churches do? Yeah, if they're doing something that it's like, oh, that's cool, I could implement that in a small church context, then yeah, that's kind of neat. Like we did one where we've got like kids check in on a tablet. So when parents are bringing them in, they can check them in. It was a security and safety type of a concept is why we put it in the first place. But then it was like, I'm good with that. Like I'm good with doing stuff like that, but am I going to be putting on full theatrical productions? And no. And I think we did a few times where we had like church, even children's church, take over the main worship, and it was like,
what was that meme? I'm sure everyone has seen it, where it's the guitar player and they've got him like slingshotting across the auditorium on lines. It was I'm sure somebody did it, but did anybody see the production of that? Because while I made fun of it, that looked amazing. And I would go to that church just to see that guitarist go flying through the air and play his sesh.
And just to see stuff, like, I'm cool with doing things like that and thinking outside of the box and try it. But when it comes to the big worship context, like, I'm not saying there's a right or there's a wrong as far as church stuff. It's just not my cup of tea. It's just
same. I've sat in oh goodness, what's the name of that church? I lost it. Anyway, big Robert Morris Church, Gateway.
Oh, Gateway.
Yeah, Gateway. And I mean that thing's an airport.
Huge.
It is an airport. You walk through. I mean, you walk
but
half a mile
everything is
down
bigger in Texas.
Yes, sir. On this, we agree. We walk down this airport thing. There's a welcome center. The classroom wing is a total like shopping mall that way, and they've got jungle gyms, and I mean it's a full on production. But I'll tell you, man brought the Spirit of God whenever he went up there and grabbed the pulpit and went to work.
Robert Morris is one of my
amazing.
He's one of my favorite preachers.
And when it was time for the altar call, they just so happened to have so many people in there that they have to hoist up these signs that say, "If you want salvation, follow after me." I tell you what, hundreds following after this little sign. If you want baptism, they got little red for salvation, there's blue for baptism, and they're marching these droves of people out the door. It's like
And maybe it's part of it might even be just the way my brain is wired. I can only juggle so many plates and keep track of so much stuff. So to try to figure out where everything is at and how everything is going and even map all that stuff out, man, I don't know if I probably could do it, but I don't want to do it.
You totally could. You just don't want to because I saw you, a little bit of a transition piece right here. Yeah. I saw you make a post this morning on Facebook about a possible class that you're doing.
Yep.
Is this public now? Can we talk about this?
I guess we can start talking about it because that's I mean it's on a story, so anybody that checks into Instagram or Facebook for the next 24 hours, they're going to be able to see it.
Great. So I can finally say, Joshua, what have you been up to, man? Looks like you've been working on something. Speaking of like being able to multitask and handle, because to me, we had chatted about this several weeks ago, and you said that you were doing it, and I was going to try and volunteer myself as tribute, just as a guinea pig, try and build something alongside of you so I could feel the pain of it.
Yeah.
And in the minute dipping of my toes in the water,
it's a pain.
That project was so intimidating because of what you're talking about, because of all the multifaceted elements. You're almost like writing a book that has to go up in video form, or a textbook that has to go up. So how's it going? How goes it?
So my goal, and I had kind of told you this, and I don't care with everybody knowing this, but my goal was to try to get it dropping June 1st, which if I were to get it to drop June 1st, then it would only have been 4 years overdue. But that was the plan. And then after we ended last week's episode, had Diana on, we hung out for, another 2 hours. After the stream was over, just chatting, and I showed it to her, and she told me something that is becoming very evident and true. I overcomplicate things.
Yes, 1,000%.
And so she's looking at it, and she's like, "You might need to slightly tweak that and go a little bit back to the drawing board because you're doing too much. Like, I get you're trying to add the value." She's like, "But it's too much in the main course outline." So like what you know and what they're going to find out here right now is that this idea is to essentially show a social media strategy, how you can take your Sunday morning sermons and use that as the basis and the blueprint for all of your social media. That way, for small church pastors that don't have the time and don't have the budget, and you definitely don't have the budget, because if you wound up having a budget, that would probably be going back into your pocket. So whatever you're going to have to do for the time and the money is going to come out of your pocket, because most small church pastors are not making full-time incomes unless they're with a denomination, and then they're bouncing around from church to church after, a small stint. That being said, it's like trying to figure out how to save time, how to save money. You just need something simple, so give it to me, simplify it, and don't cost a lot of time. For me to do that, my thought was if I'm going to be asking people to give me their hard-earned money for this strategy and this concept and all of the work that I put in it over the last 4 years, it better be bringing the value, because I'm a small church pastor and I'm good with dropping, a few $100s on a course. I've done it several times, but it better bring the value. And if it doesn't bring the value, I'm likely never going to go that route and put more money in that effort again. So to me, it was like, I want something that not only hits them right where they're at, but it can grow with them. That's where she's saying I'm going too far. It needs to be like really kind of beginner entry level, the basics of it, and lock in the foundation so that it is applicable, so they can actually take it and implement it. And if I add in the extra layers, so like the intermediate and the advanced one, or the medium and hard, we were talking easy, medium, hard, if that's added in, that's a bonus rather than being the main content, because the main content that takes them through should take them from I'm not doing much or I'm not doing anything to actually doing something. And that's kind of the progression. It was like, well, yes, because that's what I've had written down for 4 years.
I get where she's coming from, and she's good at that. She's good at streamlining you and kind of corralling. But the beauty of you, my friend, is that when you sink your teeth into something, if you can get past where your mind can't find the buckets and that sort of deal, you do something to a degree and a level that you can't replicate it. It's a one of a kind. It's kind of a work of art piece, and I don't think that should be something that you pull back on. Because when you sink your teeth into this course, it's going to be done at a level to where you're going to be able to charge what you need to charge to get your money's worth out of it, kind of a thing.
Yep.
Because people will have it. You build systems.
And I think the good thing about it is it's not like I'm going to remove all that content that is laid out. It's just going to be maybe reorganizing it in such a way that someone coming in and a pastor coming in, and thinking of myself as the one taking this first and foremost, if I'm coming in and you give me an easy, medium, and hard strategy, I'm going to want to look through those 3 strategies and then think about it for 4 years before I ever create a piece of content, because I'm trying to figure out, is it actually possible for me to not do just the easy one and actually do the medium one? And maybe this hard, I really think that's cool and I want to do that, but how could I actually do it?
Guilty.
So that's where it's like, and she was spot on, because she's like, you would just get lost in the sauce and you would have, like information paralysis and not do anything, because you'd be rethinking and rethinking and rethinking. And it needs to be a very specific, attainable objective that is in there, and how to actually apply this. Because the courses I've taken that I love are the ones that give me practical steps that I can actually implement and show me, here's the progression. Here's how you go from nothing to something. And as long as I've went from nothing to something, if I drop the money thinking I'm going to get to here and they can get me to here, yes, please. Now, what's the next thing? So that's kind of where I just got to try to figure out how to reformat it. Whether or not that's due by January or June 1st, I don't know. Because that would be me dropping it in like 4 days.
With that process that she came in, she said, hey, streamline this down. Does it still leave you with enough content that valuable, or was it one of those things? Because to me, I think I have my trouble with writing out my whole course thing was that I'm flying at 30,000 feet and I couldn't figure out how to dive into the details of it. It was like, oh yeah, you do this, 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 and this. And I couldn't remember the details because it's been so long since I've had to learn how to break down the different elements of all that. I just say, hey, you set up a camera, you do this. I'm not giving anything away here. Obviously, I'm speaking very vaguely because mine has not come to fruition yet, and I'm still planning on hanging on. Yeah, still planning on that one, but
yeah. No, I think I've still got plenty of content in that course. I don't think you should know me by now that I will not release it unless I think that it's actually bringing the value that it needs to bring. And as long as I feel it brings the value, then we're good. And
that's phase 2.
Yeah, the plan is to really record everything, try to get it into the organizational structure as far as the course outline and everything that it needs to be. Mm-hmm. And then at that point, I'll be rolling it out to my beta group to kind of go through it and test it. And I've got some people kind of in mind on how to use that, a couple that I need to reach out to and see about them if they would want to go through it and just kind of give some feedback. And then I'll tweak slightly before releasing it out. So it's not going to be fully polished when I release it. It's going to at least be out of where a lot of the bugs are at. It's going to have some focus to it. It still may be beta version, and it probably will be when I've got it. But I'm just basically going to release it to a few people and say, hey, what do you think? Is this good enough to go? And as long as those say it's good enough to go, then it's going. And then you all know about it, and you can start sending me your cash.
I'm already salivating because I can see phase 2 where Diana and I have to like pry it from your fingers, your tightly clenched white knuckle fingers of like, it's time to let it go.
This is going to come a whole lot faster than we realize. Like, I think I joke about I'd have to basically get it all done in 4 days. That may not be far from the reality that happens. Because I've still got that June 1st in mind. It's not, and I think you and I talked about this, where this is not a hard fast that I have to have it done, but that is my goal and that is my objective and that's what I'm aiming for. And if I miss, it's only going to be slightly.
June 1st with a slight miss?
Yeah. 7 days.
Skillet, it is May 24th.
8 days. See, you gave me an extra day.
Oh.
And I can't do anything with it today or tomorrow.
Okay. This may be possible because you're just talking about, you've already got your buckets, you've already got your curriculum laid out, you're ready to go. You just have to film, edit.
All I've got to do is record, and the edits are going to be very minimal. I'm not doing any super polishing edits. I'm probably going to use AI to edit. I'm going to throw it in with AutoPod and be like, jump cut, edit this thing. Then that's it. Take out my ums, uhs, and pauses. And that's it. Yeah, Diana's saying, honestly, June 1st is very doable. So, and you and her have looked at it, and you know that I've got the outline there. It's just taking the time to set and record. Now, keeping in mind, taking the time to set and record, I've also got like 4 other channels.
Yeah. Well, you guys heard it here first. Right here, right now. He's going to have it done on June the 1st or shortly thereafter.
Yep. It'll be close. It's going to come. It's going to come close. Yeah. So that's kind of what the plan is. And speaking of this whole thing, so part of what I was talking about where we were mentioning me overthinking things, this led into this conversation.
Yes, it did.
You and I have had, and Diana was also a part of this conversation because I don't know if y'all saw it. I created what do we call these, like sermon clips? Yeah.
I'd call it like a short or a reel off of one of your sermons.
Yeah. So just quick little sermon clips, snippets. Oh, by the way, for those that have got comments and questions in the chat, we will be getting to those questions and comments. I just want to get through this thought while it's still fresh on my mind and I'm looking at myself over on my other screen. The sermon snippet, sermon clips, whatever it was. So I've been wanting to get our sermons back in video format. I noticed that over the last several weeks, it seems like there's always something that winds up interrupting my video when I'm recording it at church. And so then it's like, I'll just extract the audio and put it up. And then this past one, I was like, I don't care if it's messed up. I don't care if somebody had to get up and go to the bathroom and walk past the camera. Whatever. I don't care, like this actual one from Sunday, that the light just went out. So like they're gone. Everything went black. And it's like, I don't care. I'm going to post it anyways. Now it took me about 12 hours to get past my pouting about the lights going out in the middle of the camera and then actually post it. So I had the audio released first, but then I went back through. I did a real quick edit on it where all I was really doing was scrubbing through where there were scriptures. And then I just put the slides up because I currently don't have a system in place for that to automatically go. Currently don't have that system. That's coming, but I currently don't have a system where my slides can automatically jump on top of the video while I'm preaching. So with that, I just scrubbing through, listening through it, and it's at like, you're in Premiere Pro and you press L and it goes like 2 times the speed, and then you press L again, it goes like 4 times the speed, and you sound like a chipmunk. That's what I was doing. I would hear the scripture, I'd back up, I'd drop the slide in. While I'm doing that, it was like, ooh, wait a second. That's a good moment. So Autopod that we've talked about on the podcast, the AI that does, editing a full podcast. It also does a jump cut edit. It also does a social clip edit, where in Premiere Pro, all you have to do is select your in and out point, and then you hit create social clip, and it tells you, do you want it to be wide, like the 1920 by 1080? Do you want it to be 1080 by 1920? Or do you want it to be the like the Instagram post, which that's the kind of vertical. It's not, they do 1-to-1, I think, but I think there was also like a 1350 to 1080, that's like a 4:5 ratio, I think. Which one do you want? So vertical, in, out, found it, generate a clip, pulls up a new sequence on the timeline, and it's automatically done the jump cutting with it and kind of split it together. And then the other AI feature, I don't even know if it's AI feature that, did I even tell you about this one? I know I told Diana about that. But
it was
this
very
was
nice. I know where you're going. It's very nice.
This is a Submachine. Mm-hmm. And Submachine they've got a subscription at $8 a month or $150. If you're familiar with like, Descript, it essentially does that. But this is a Premiere Pro plugin that will give you the subtitles. So all of the subtitles that I had on that were done with this. Now that took a little bit because it was the first time using the plugin, but after I got the first one done, the next ones were a whole lot faster. And so I just created these, right? And you get those up and you get those going, and then what do you wind up doing? Then if you're me, you freeze. Because it's like, I just created this sermon clip, but where do I post the sermon clip? It's like, so this is a sermon clip. Do I post this on my own channel? Do I post this on the church's channel? Do I post it to my Instagram profile or the church's Instagram profile, to my Facebook profile, the church's or Facebook page? What do I do? Where does it go? I had no idea.
What do you mean you had no idea?
It's me. I was too close to the situation. It was like, I don't know what to do. Because here's what I was thinking through. It was like, my church's social channels have, I don't know, like, I don't even know what our Facebook page has. Maybe 100 or so followers on the Facebook page. And the Instagram, I think, has like, 30. And I think we've probably got about the same amount on the YouTube channel. But then you've got my own, and I've got, 2+K on, I think, all three of those, somewhere in that range. So it's like we're looking at maybe 200 for the churches and maybe 6,000 for mine. So where do you put it? It would seem like go ahead and put it on mine because there's more of an audience, so it's going to have more of a reach. But you and I have talked about this, where I don't really want my YouTube channel to be preachy, even if I am a preacher. So do I post it there? But at the same time, I'm a vlog pastor, and there's the pastor component of the vlog pastor that maybe I need to put a little something there. And it's not like I haven't had sermon clips on my vlogs before. I've done that several times where, I talk about, hey, it's church or it's a Sunday thing, and you put in a little clip in the vlog. So it's not like I haven't done it. I just haven't done a dedicated preachy thing. So I really didn't know where to put it.
We really overthink this stuff. We really overthink this stuff. I'm just now getting a grasp of like how much we overthink it. Taking that class I was telling you about, and some of the guys are working with me, and they're like, man, you're overthinking everything about where to post, and you're posting this much.
Yep.
You've got like 1-2 videos that you put out there. They're like, here's what we're thinking.
Right?
Here's kind of the content level that we want you to be posting at, and here's what you're concerned about. You're worried about whether that short is going in the right spot at the right time. And we're talking about posting 9,000 shorts. Anyway, I think
Yeah.
we overthink things. I saw that and I thought, you're a pastor. It's what you do. I got to see you passionate in your preaching. I
Yeah.
got to I got to witness some truth right there coming straight down the pipe in your native element that only your and with this is the part though. This is the hiccup. Let me finish my thought by saying I got to see you in your native element, and it was awesome because it's a peek behind the scenes
Mhm.
and to see your true passion. I think it pairs nicely. I think it goes on your church because that's who you guys are. That is their pastor preaching. Yes, all their socials because
Yeah.
we're not doing enough. All of them around the horn. I think it goes on. Maybe not this one, unless we wanted to. We could open season on this thing, but I think it goes on all of your socials because
Right.
that is who you are. That was who you've been created to be. And I think the more people can see you genuinely and authentically walking out your passion and your calling, the more folks that are going to be attracted, like you guys were saying, the more people who are going to be properly repelled and the more people who are going to be properly attracted to the message that God has.
Yeah.
So there's that. The problem is, as we've discussed before, there are some things that we talk about in our small little churches that are specific for them or for the time. And
Correct.
I struggle with, that one right there. That was a word for everybody. Come on, get on board with that. Those are fine. Those are no
Yeah.
brainers. But sometimes you're talking to Susie, and that's a part of it. And Susie needs to know this element, and there's a truth in there. But if you now broadcast that truth to 30,000 people, and you just had a private time, or the Holy Spirit just had a private time with Susie, now you've launched Susie's issues, and everybody who's in a 50-person church, 100-person church, 300-person church, whatever, knows that you were talking about Susie that day. You have launched her issues across the interwebs.
Correct.
And it's weird.
Yeah.
Small church problems. So what do you think about that? Because I've got the same thing. We've been doing
Yeah.
our church stuff just blowing up.
Yep. So that's one of those where I think there needs to be a little bit of real-time discernment on what to post, what not to post. But I wasn't even in the lost in the sauce of what to post. Like, this was posting. There was no doubt about it. This is going. I had 3 clips. One of them was on Monday. I think I dropped it. Dropped another one this morning that you guys may or may not have seen. And then there will be another one on Friday. And those are going. Like, I don't care. It's going. I don't care if you agree with me theologically or not. I don't care if you say I'm a heretic or not. I don't care. These are going. So it wasn't what to post. It was, where do I post it? And I think sometimes I can understand where you're coming from, because I was there, where it was like, I don't know where to post it. So I'm going to use, I don't know what to post as a reason to then just not post and not even record or even go down that path. Now, yes, there will be moments that stuff needs to be left out, and I may preach it live. And if that's the case, well, that's where it's nice to have editing capabilities, because I can go through and edit it out. And let's say you live stream and all of a sudden something came out that in the live stream that you're like, oh, we actually need to take that down. Take it down. Download that thing, take down the live stream, edit the part out, and put the rest up. So yeah, I get it with sometimes there are going to be things that are specifically for that church, that local congregation in the moment, and it may start to reveal and show some stuff broadly. Just, have the discernment, have the wisdom of not doing it. And even if like we're having the intimate moments of like vlogging and stuff like that, where do we post that stuff? Because then there can be more of those moments. That's where I think it's just getting permission for them. But for this moment, for me, it was like, where do I post it? Like, where should it be posted? Should it be on mine? Should it be on the churches? And I think both you and Diana basically said, Josh, you're 1000% overthinking things like you always do.
Which is funny because you share that comment just to let you guys know who are watching and listening on with us that we're in this with you. We're walking through this in real time. This isn't like we figured it out and we're now telling you exactly what to do. Although we are. Because Joshua says, where do I post this? And it was a no-brainer. It's like, dude, you post that across everything. I looked at it, I saw it, there was this one goes widely distributed. Go everywhere. Don't even think about it. What's your problem? But I don't do that at all. At all. I have YouTube, my own personal my stuff does not have any of my preaching involved in it at all.
Should it?
At all.
Should it?
I don't know that I'm ready for that.
So that's a whole nother story.
Jesus makes you say some crazy things sometimes. No.
So we're going to have a separate episode just about should you or what should you, not where should you.
On the couch. Yeah, I'll lay down on the couch. You guys can have your whole session. No, but seriously, because like I'm watching the church, the church's YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Like I'm scheduled with them through the summer. Like they have shorts coming out every other day, or reels or whatever you want to do. They have stuff coming out every other day throughout the rest of the summer. Every Sunday is going to have the week prior, and that's clipping along pretty good. So like there's content coming out, and I'm watching a new audience engage with the message, and it's, you know, we've talked about this part before. It's fun because some people hate it, and as YouTube and Instagram, Facebook shop it to a new audience, a wider audience, you got to get the response of the people who love it, the people who hate it, and you have to break through those barriers as it searches for you. But like, man, we're not posting near enough. But I don't think that content belongs on my personal for some reason. In my mind, there is a strict division. Also, there's I have other pastors who preach and that sort of thing. So I have, Jason's up, Jim, David, those guys are rolling through.
So let me walk through. Here's kind of how I was breaking it down, because I had asked you guys about it. You said to post it. I just went ahead and I posted it on mine. I was like, I'm posting it on mine, and then we'll figure it out. So I posted it on all of mine, my Instagram, my Facebook, my YouTube. Then I think I did a Instagram reel, or not, an Instagram story in Facebook and Instagram, meta story. Asked people, what do you think? What should I do? And Trey drops fire that I had not even thought about before. He's like, do both. Now, here's the dilemma with do both. I'm so in the weeds when it comes to YouTube that YouTube specifically has guidelines about the exact same video being posted across multiple channels. If you want to look it up, look up YouTube in the term of service, and it's reused content. They say this is a no-no, and you could lose your entire channel for doing this. So, no. However, Trey's like, dude, that's what I do on Instagram, because Instagram has this feature where you can invite a collaborator. I'm like, say what? Like, I think I saw that setting somewhere, but I didn't know exactly what it was. And essentially, like, I don't know if you've ever seen these on Trey's. Let me see if I can pull one up here real quick. But Trey does these sermons, snippets, and he's been doing them for a long time. And I never really looked at what it was, to kind of see the breakdown on it. But like this one right here, and we'll just kind of click. You look right here where it says...
There's the guy. Look at that guy.
Both of these.
I miss that guy.
Yeah. So it's got both. It's Passion Creek Church and Trey Van Camp did this. So this winds up going, because this is not only on Trey's. That's what that is. It's not only on Trey's. If you go over here to his church's page, it's right there. It's the exact same video linked to both, because these two are the ones that created this. They collaborated on this. And I'm like, dude, that is brilliant. So I'm thinking, well, that kind of solves the problem. That's the solution right there. So it was just like, all right, but what does that do for Facebook? Because I had kind of looked around and asked around, and Facebook doesn't have it. And then I started deep diving in. Facebook does have it. They've got the exact same thing. And all it is you just have to create the reel and you invite collaborator. Now, for those that are listening and might want to do this, because I actually did this with this morning. So if you're looking at it, you'll see it on either a Meta, and on Instagram, you go through and it says tag people. You click tag, and then right below it says invite collaborator. Click on invite collaborator. You type in the name of your church's profile. You click on it. It says a request will be sent to them. I think it was Trey, or maybe it was Vaughn Sanders I was talking to about this as well. And he had said when he had done it with his church on Instagram, it would only work on the iPhone. That's the only way you could actually approve the request. It's actually working on Android now because that's what I did it. And then on Facebook, when you upload a reel, you go down to the bottom after you're uploading the reel and it says additional settings. So it doesn't say tag, but it says additional settings. And if you click on additional settings, then it says invite collaborator, and it's the exact same thing. And then all you have to do is log into your church's account and hit accept the collaboration, and it gets posted. And to show you it gets posted, like it's right there. Where are we at? Go back over here. So here's the one. If I pull this back up, here's the one from the other day that I did. If you click on it, you see it's just me. That's the only one. But this is the one from this morning, and it says me and Full Faith IA. So it's on both of our pages. And as you can see, it's right there showing up on that. Hey, apparently we got 58 followers there. So it will wind up showing up on that. And it also does it over on Facebook. Because if I kind of scroll down here a couple days, this one here, go ahead and leave page. I don't care what it's doing. Hopefully the audio is not on too much. There it is. So that one was just on mine, and this was the one from the other day. But now if I wind up going back and clicking on the one from this morning,
it's these moments.
The audio, Joshua Verwers, and Full Faith Church. So it's like, that's a perfect solution. Like, it is really the perfect solution for what we're doing. And I liked that. I like because it's simple and easy. Like, hey, Trey's here giving us a thumbs up. Saying, and they don't always rhyme anymore. The sermon clips. But yes, and he didn't know Facebook had it. So yes, Facebook actually has it, which cool. I didn't know, and I searched around for it on Google, and hey, does Facebook have this? I searched inside Facebook, couldn't find anything. So then I just tried uploading one and started looking around, and yep, there it was. So they have it. The dilemma then still remains on YouTube. And I'm just going to be honest, a lot of y'all aren't really helping me. Here's why you're not helping me. I hopped on Twitter. This was the exact same thing I had kind of posted on Instagram with the story and Facebook with the story, and you're all just like, yeah, put it on both. And then I'm like, well, what if you can't on YouTube? So I ran this poll last night. Let's say you're a pastor and a vlogger, and you make a reel for IG and Facebook. Where do you post it? 40% of you said my profile. None of you said the church's profile. And 60% said both. Cool. All right, now let's say this pastor and vlogger, you make a YouTube short. Which channel do you post it on? Keeping in mind, again, that it's against YouTube's terms of service to post in both places due to reuse content. You're split down the middle. You're not helping me at all. Half of you are like, oh, put it here. The other half are like, oh, put it there. So you know what I decided to do? Here's my thinking and here's my rationale. And it'll remain this way until I change my mind, which will probably be in 2 days. My rationale is the long form sermon that's going on the church. I don't want the long form sermon on my channel because my channel is not a preaching channel. I'm okay showing the elements that I'm a preacher. I want to let people know I am a pastor. I am a vlog pastor. This is what I do. I'm trying to share my faith, not just in person, but also online. That's who I am. That's what I want to do. But I'm not going to preach to you. It's not going to be, here's my full-length sermons on my channel. Doesn't mean I don't want it online. Go ahead, put it online. But unless I create a Pastor Josh Sermons channel, which I'm not creating channel number 86.
Ooh.
So instead, just throw it on the church's channel. It's there. And then what I do on YouTube, because YouTube does a better job where Facebook and Meta, it's hard to link videos and sit there and I did this video. Hey, check out this one. They don't like links and descriptions, but on YouTube, they don't mind it. So on YouTube, I'm going to upload those sermon clips as shorts on my channel for the main reason that I've watched shorts enough. I've played with shorts enough and I've seen what's happening. I truly believe that the YouTube algorithm has taken your audience, all of your subscribers, and they know who subscribed from long form and who subscribed from short form. And if you only subscribe from short form, they might tease some long form content, but if you don't actually watch it, they're not going to serve it up to you anymore, but they'll continue to serve you the short form content. Vice versa, if you're a long form one, they might show you some of the short form, but if you don't actually watch the short form, they're going to stop sharing the short form with you. I've seen this play out on mine. I've seen it play out on others. I've heard a lot of other YouTubers talking about that. But what I did was I uploaded the short on my YouTube channel, and then I linked, if you want to watch the full sermon, check out, and then I tagged at Full Faith IAA, and here is the full video. And then I linked the video. So I not only tagged the church's YouTube page, I also linked in the full sermon. And then on the church's page, the only other thing I did is in the description talked about this being a sermon from this past, and it was from Pastor Joshua Verwers. And then all I did was hit the at Joshua Verwers, so it links back to my channel to kind of cross-post that a little bit. That's the best that YouTube has right now until YouTube actually opens up collaborator feature, which I'm going to start petitioning YouTube to open up a collaborator feature through Twitter, because that seems to be the only place that YouTube actually listens to people. Which you'd think they would listen to people on their own platform, but who knows?
Interesting.
What do you think of that thought, that plan?
I think it's a great plan. I think it has lots of potential. Where I am the devil's in the details type of a thing is, I guess it depends on what your goal is. Are you trying to get in front of more eyeballs, or are you trying to serve your church? I'm just thinking through.
Yes.
Like on specifically YouTube. Some of the other ones, it doesn't matter. Like Facebook, Instagram, those guys, because they, like you said, they cross-pollinate so well. You're hitting who you need to hit anyway. But on YouTube, who has the issues with those videos, so you can only post one or the other. In my mind, as you were going through that, I want to serve my church first and foremost. So I want to make sure that they have the full length and the short, and it's totally them. And so I don't want to be dipping in on, at least on YouTube, any sort of issues that would cause my church channel to go down or my channel to go down because we're using some of the same videos.
Correct.
So I would probably, at least how I have it set up right now is, I see shorts, just to kind of give you guys my thinking, I see shorts as a growth machine. So I heard you with the whole like, where they like your short form content, where they like your long form content. I disagree in that I think YouTube is going to shop the hound dog out of shorts right now. You can quote me on that.
Yeah.
Shop the hound dog. I think they're going to blast your shorts across, and just watching, because our shorts, so part of my insecurities about posting shorts for my church in the past have been, one, content, what if it's personal, blah, blah, blah. But two, the video quality isn't that great. It's poorly lit in that place. The light changes all the time because of the ambient lighting that's coming in and out. There's ceiling fans whop, 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 whopping over top. So sometimes you're strobing out. It's really bad. But as long as I have the audio, I was able to capture the audio for the day, which some of them we didn't, audio for the day, and I have somewhat of an image that I can slap some text over, I've told myself I'm going to post it. And in posting that on Reels, Shorts, that sort of thing, we've been breaking into different audiences. And I don't know, again, it may be our message, it may be the timing, whatever. But I think in Shorts, in particularly on YouTube, that is a growth machine. And I'm watching it play out with the church, because it is hitting new audiences, and you can tell because all of a sudden, I'll tell you one reason how you can tell, because it sounds like demons shrieking. I'll just be straight up honest with you.
The comments that you wind up getting.
All of a sudden, because I mean, like when you post, and you guys know, when you post in your home audience, everybody says, "Well done."
Right.
Oh man, boy, we love your content because they like you. They've been around for a while. YouTube has shopped your videos to the perfect client, and they've been honing that down. So now it's your audience. They love you. When you break outside of it, you hear, "Oh my goodness, why would you ever post this? You're dumb. You're stupid. What is this? You believe in this God? What's going on?" You're like, "Oh, well, we hit another ring." And I've found that with shorts, with long form,
it doesn't happen as much.
Well, with the church in particular, because what are we talking about? We're talking about an hour and a half long. Nobody's going to come across an hour and a half long video and go, "Ooh, I believe I'll sit down there and give that a try."
Right.
But these shorts for small churches, they're just cranking. So you're getting your nuggets out there before them.
Yeah.
This was the hard hitting point, and then if they want more of it, like you're saying, they can go. YouTube will eventually shop a face. They'll say, "Listen, you remember this guy? Let's watch it longer."
Yeah. So I think if it's a sermon clip, if I'm going to try to answer my own question, where should you post it? Well, quite frankly, I think that your answer is probably the best answer. Everywhere. Like every place you possibly can, post it all. So Instagram, Facebook, that's no problem. TikTok doesn't care if the exact same video gets uploaded. So if your church is on TikTok, post it on the same thing. They don't care. They're not going through and looking through copyright stuff because it's insane.
It's China, and they don't care about copyright.
Yeah, so they don't care. Chances are it's not going to get a whole lot of traffic once they realize what it is anyways, but that's another story. On YouTube, that's the only one because, yes, we don't want that stuff to shut down, especially if we're thinking that our church's channel is primarily aimed at helping our local church kind of reconnect with the messages and then going beyond secondarily. Yeah, we don't want the channel to shut down. So that's the only dilemma. Where should you post it? Everywhere you possibly can. Replicate it, duplicate it, post it until you're blue in the face.
Yep.
The only dilemma is then with YouTube and what should you do? Where should you post it, or what should you post, and which place should you post it? That's the dilemma that I think we all need to work through. I think if you are a pastor that has a YouTube channel, unless your channel is so niched down on one specific vein, then maybe you could post them there too.
You're not gonna say that to pastors after one day. You posted one video.
I will, because here's why. Not only that, it wasn't just this one day of posting this. I haven't even looked at the response and the reaction or any of the analytics on it because I don't really care. Here's where this also comes into. This goes back to the conversation that you and I had 2 weeks ago and then last week with Diana, and it was finding your audience and who are you trying to serve and how are you trying to serve them. I vlog pastor. I vlog. I pastor. I like showing the vlogs. And one thing I keep getting from a lot of, especially my church members who are subscribed to my vlog channel, they're like, do you ever think about showing more of the pastor side of the vlog pastor? And I wasn't quite sure how to do it because I don't want to put a full sermon on there. I'm okay with putting a little sermon clip in there. And if I'm okay with putting a sermon clip in a vlog, why wouldn't I also just be okay with putting a sermon clip as a short? Because it's just one aspect of it. Doesn't mean all of them are going to be that way, but at least that is me, my channel, and this is who I am and what I'm trying to do. So why not show a little bit of what I'm preaching without being too preachy? Because really, a 15, 30 second, 60 second short, it's not that big of a deal. So I would suggest at that point, unless you have a good conviction as to why not to post it on personal stuff, try it on personal stuff. That way you can kind of cross-pollinate, because maybe there is somebody that goes to your YouTube channel, your church's channel, and they find the church and they're like, who is this pastor? And then they see the vlog content and they're like, oh, this dude's actually kind of relatable. I like him. I'm going to follow more of his stuff. Or people that have found you through the vlogging and they're like, I like this guy. I can definitely vibe with him, but I wish I could find some of his preaching. And then all of a sudden a short comes up and it says, hey, here's the church channel. Check it out if you want the whole thing. And there is some. And I go back, I found that, especially in COVID, there were a lot of people on my channel where when I was posting, I think at the beginning of COVID, I was doing the weekly vlog. And so it was like a full week and people were catching the sermon clips because that's essentially what I was doing for the Sunday version of the weekly vlog. And I think I only did 3 or 4 of those, but people were able to then go over and find the church's channel and find the sermons, and people that are subscribed to the main channel, and they've reached out to me on socials over the last couple years and said, hey, do you ever post your sermons online anymore? I kind of miss watching those. And they found them from my channel went there. So that's at the moment where I'm thinking, why not just allow another door for them to come in? Some people come through the front door. Some people come to the church through the back door. I'm going to let them also try to come in through the window. It's just like whatever works. So that's where I would say, unless you're really convicted about, don't post it on yours. Try it. See what happens. You might be surprised. It may just work out well. And you may figure, if you're a vlog pastor like me, that, I guess it doesn't really hurt to put a little pastoral clip in there. Anyway, that's kind of what my thought is. Any other final shots on this topic of where should you post your stuff?
No. After an hour-long conversation, I'm still like, meh.
Yep, that works. All right, let's get to some comments here before we pop out. I saw a couple of these. Pastor Jeffrey Calling saying, I have a question. How can I preach on forgiveness? I need to preach that to one person, not everyone in the church. Do not preach it to everyone in the church if you know that it needs to go to one person specifically, unless God has really placed it on your heart. And then in that scenario, study, pray. Try to talk yourself out of it and let the Holy Spirit convict you to such a point that you have to do it.
Okay.
Otherwise, in my thoughts, I'm going to let you have your thought.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if it's just one person that you need to preach conviction to, go to that one person. Like, just walk up to him and say, hey, as a pastor that you've allowed to speak into your life, I need to speak this into your life, and I'm coming to you one-on-one. If you see a brother that is caught up in a sin, that's in a trespass, go to them that you might restore them. If they receive it, great. If they don't receive it, then take somebody else with you. And then if it still doesn't, go get lost. I've had to do similar things at the church where there was something that I needed to address. It was a specific topic. I did not want to go in front of the church because all I could see was like danger signs. Danger, Will Robinson, danger. It's like, nope. Devil's going to be catching up and using this, and he's going to have a heyday with it. So I went to that one individual. I addressed it with them. I've had moments where I've addressed it with them. They didn't quite receive it right away because it shocked them. And I was like, just pray about it. Think about what I said. You got any other questions, come back to me. I don't want to get into a deep discussion about this right now because you need to set on this and you need to let the Holy Spirit work on you with this. And then we'll reconvene. Went back. It worked. Like, they were like, thank you. Thank you for the approach. Thank you for what you said. I had a blind spot to it. I didn't see it. I appreciate that. And I've had others that are like, nope, you're wrong. And I'm like, okay, well, let's search the scriptures. And we start showing, nope, you're still wrong. Okay. So then grab another elder in the church and they're like, nope, you guys are both wrong. And it's like, okay, well, at that point, you do not respect the authoritative covering that I have as a pastor. So I can no longer lead you. You need to go somewhere else. Yeah, we'll wash the hands of it. That's what my suggestion. Jarrod, anything in addition to?
No. I didn't know where you were going with that at first. I was like, oh, wait a minute. And that's the exact same answer I would have. If it's a personal problem, you heard through the grapevine, this person, has unforgiveness about such and such and so. We'll go to your brother, just like Joshua said. That's a relational issue. Go there, sort it out. Get it handled. If it's a word of knowledge from the Lord that you know that person specifically is dealing with unforgiveness, then you go to that person. That's a one-on-one type situation. And then all the progression like Joshua was talking about. Hey, it doesn't have to be, thus saith the Lord, you have unforgiveness. But,
right.
There's certain ways to approach that and deal with that issue. I would never, this is just a little bit of a, 10-year plus pastor talking here. I don't think I would ever preach to anybody on a topic that they needed to turn around on. If there is a collection and the Lord has highlighted we're deficient in a certain area, then maybe, yes. I would also assume right off the bat that me being their shepherd and their leader, that my heart needs to be examined first in those areas to say, okay, Lord, before I go speaking on this topic, what am I missing? Because I've been in too many sermons and too many weeks after the sermon where I realize, man, I let them have it. I really delivered the point about forgiveness. And then he kind of comes along and knocks on my old heart's door and goes, hello, Did you forget about something? It's like, what? You lowered the boom, and then you get the full weight of conviction of like, I was talking to you, son.
Yep.
So I would just caution those things to say, is it relational? Go to your brother. Is it a word of knowledge? Go to your brother or sister.
Yep.
Go to them. And if it is a church-wide issue that you believe they have, then I would go to the Lord and say, would you please search me and know me, and see if there be any wicked way in me, anything that I'm off in this area about, so that I can properly declare what your heart is for these people. That's what I would.
Yep. Cool. Yep. I like it. Brian Sroza, I just did a free masterclass by Justin Coe. It's called Empty Pews to 1 Million Views. Yeah, I've seen that one going around. I thought about seeing how many views I've had on that socials. Yeah,
on the social.
You can. I think it would actually surprise a lot of us how many we actually get and how much the reach is. And if you leverage, like, you can go very viral very quick. If you just want to bring up any type of controversy and stuff like that, it's going to pop off really hard.
Yep.
You can even do that in the church. Just start saying stuff that is heretical, and all of a sudden people are going to come out of the woodwork to fight you. Or just find the divisive topics. Like if you're Pentecostal, start talking about speaking in tongues. Or if you're Baptist and you're not Pentecostal, start talking about speaking in tongues. You're going to get people fighting you. And it's crazy.
That's so true.
Yep. Josh, I want to encourage you that on Instagram and YouTube, you have reached almost 500,000 views.
Wow.
Told you. We might be surprised if we heard those numbers. Quite surprised. So yeah, that's good. Diana, when it comes to talking about the course that I'm making, you have all the skills you need inside. The outline is done. He's just capturing himself doing the things. Yeah,
doing the things, the stuffs and the things.
It's very, very good. Brian talking a little bit about the motivation to preach to one person, think it may be better to talk to them one-on-one. Yep, absolutely. He was tagging Zach in that, but it should have been Jeffrey instead. But get where you're going with that. Yeah, and Brian's saying like, amen, Diana, when she said, don't major in the minors. Although that is for me also. And she says, oh, then Brian, just hold on to the phrase that we use in our group chat. Publishing equals obedience. Just do it. You know the worst part about that? Like that whole thing came from one of the vlogs that I did where I was talking about me not publishing was a form of me being disobedient. And then Diana renames the group chat to publishing equals obedience.
I know. And it stares us right in the face
every
time you go to Instagram, you get to hit it. It's like, oh.
Yeah. And she said, yes, I think this is a great conversation for pastors having the same dilemma. I am glad to hear that. That's where, I don't know if you guys noticed in the last couple of weeks, Jarrod and I are taking a slightly different direction for the channel, for the podcast.
One of us got in trouble about politics. Okay. There was a couple weeks where we talked about some things that got us chasing some rabbit trails and some spy balloons and whatnot. Okay.
That's
one of us is a little heated about everything that goes on.
That's not what it was at all. All it was we were talking to Diana about clarity and who we're trying to serve and all of that stuff. And that whole conversation, I was like, maybe I should look back over the analytics of this podcast. What does the audience actually resonate with? And come to find out, y'all like this type of content because, why? It's probably more helpful. And probably because you hear enough about the doom and gloom in the world and the political sphere anyways, and you don't want to hear it from us. But the spy balloons. Yeah. Trey's saying, yep, controversy sells. Controversy does
I'm pretty sure Paul wrote some books to like Timothy and Titus about that stuff, though. Hey, stop getting caught up in that.
Yeah. So yes, we're going to, essentially what we're going to do is we're just going to be kind of talking through, well, it's like our intro says. This podcast is all about the stories and strategies of sharing God's love in the digital world. So we're going to talk about what we're going through and what we're seeing and what we're experiencing and what we're wondering about and all of the other what's. And I guess this could be called, instead of what, Joshua, what vlog pastors. But that's kind of where we're going, which then means if anybody has any topics that you want to hear, any questions that you want us to answer or that you're going through, we're not saying that we are the experts and the end-all be-all on this.
No.
What we are saying is that we've got a few years experience in this digital realm, and we've learned some things through success and failure. And so we might just be a jump, skip, and a hop ahead of you. And that means we might have just seen something. And
We have failed more times than you could ever imagine.
And me specifically, what I have found, and Jarrod has told me this over and over and over again, that I wind up finding things and discovering things that other people have not found and not discovered. And then I just do them and I never talk about them because nobody asks me about them.
How many LUFs does YouTube prefer on your audio settings? How many
Negative
LUFs?
14.
Do you see this
And
nonsense
Spotify is
right
negative
here?
16.
That. So that your audio is not compressed and that it is pristine. It gets exactly what it needs.
Negative 14 LUFs with a true negative 1 decibel peak. And that will give you the
You're amazing.
perfect audio level on YouTube. Perfect, where they don't raise the volume and they don't lower the volume.
Joshua disappears for a week and a half and he comes back with this. And it's stuff that
And-
like unlocks everything though.
And then nobody asks me about it and I never talk about it. And so then all of a sudden it's like, I forget about it. So if you guys have got stuff that you're just wondering about, ask us and you can hit us up. Also, if you didn't know this, if you are following us on Spotify, you can actually submit an audio question. So you can go through the Spotify page and down in the description of each of these episodes, you will see send the guys a voice memo and you can send it over to us. And maybe we will not only show your comment like this, but you might also be able to get your comment in audio fashion. John
figure it out.
Hayes need not apply.
John, what?
He says, I was going to try to comment on Twitter, but I can't figure out how.
There you go.
I don't know what he was going to
He
do.
lies to you because he commented on mine the other day. He's
He
up
thought
and running.
LUFs were on visual. It's like a frame rate of 30 hertz.
John's back. He's out of his meeting.
That's funny. Brian saying, what's funny is that I think if I preached on doom and gloom, it would get the views, but I don't see the gospel that way. And that's if I were to give one recommendation, one encouragement to anybody out there, understand who you are, who God has called you to be, and who God has called
here
you
it
to
is.
serve, and just
feel it.
press into that.
I feel it right here.
Press
Come on.
in. Especially when it comes to YouTube, how about you put the you in YouTube and make it YouTube, not they tube. Stop trying to do what everybody else is doing. Only do what you can do.
Glory.
There you go. That's all I got.
man.
We're out of here. Until next time, stay blessed, enjoy God's best, and have a fantastic week.